You sighed deeply and wiped the tears from your eyes, and after a moment of hesitation, you finally said, "Fine." You said while looking at Jungkook. Jungkook's tense posture relaxed and relief washing over his face, while Namjoon gave a slight nod of approval. In the meeting room, the tension was thick as everyone, including you, Jungkook, Athena, and all the key members, sat quietly. Dex stood at the front. He inserted something into the system. Moments later, a recording began playing on the screen. Your eyes widened as you saw Athena sneaking over to your desk and exchanging the files. You were not much shocked as Athena had already confessed to you, but the proof was undeniable now. However, Athena's face is drained of color, her eyes widened in shock as she realized she had been caught red-handed. Her confident demeanor shattered instantly and was replaced by panic. The room was silent, but the weight of the truth was now out in the open, and the looks from everyone around the table shifted towards her, full of judgment and disbelief. "Explain yourself, Athena," he gritted each word, and she panicked and stammered. "It was not me. I swear I didn't do it." Jungkook's patience snapped. He slammed his hand on the table, causing everyone in the room to flinch. His eyes burned with rage as he took a step forward, pointing to the screen. "The proof is right there. Stop lying and explain yourself before I kill you right here." Athena started shaking. She looked around the room. Everyone's eyes were on her. Her face paled as she realized there was no way to take herself out of this. "Yes, I did it. I did it all because I was jealous of Van. I wanted to take her place. I wanted to become your secretary, and I couldn't find any way better than this." She finally confessed, her voice trembling with fear and defeat. The room fell into heavy silence as her words sank in. Jungkook's eyes darkened, his anger barely contained. He took a deep breath and clenched his fist, struggling to remain composed. "So you ruined my project, tarnished Van's reputation, and created this whole mess, all because of jealousy." His voice was low yet dangerous, and Athena nodded out of fear. "So are you the one who filled Van's head with lies, saying I was behind all of this, that I did it all?" Athena hesitated, her eyes darting nervously around the room before she finally nodded. "Yes, I told her it was you. I wanted her to believe you didn't care about her, and that you were the one who betrayed her." Jungkook's jaw clenched and he took a step toward her, but Namjoon stopped him and he sighed in frustration. "You are shaken by everything," and looked at Athena with disbelief. "How could you stoop so low, Athena? If you wanted to become his secretary, you could have worked for it, earned it. This is definitely not the way." "Yes, Vine is right. This way you ruined not only a project but people's trust, and for what? To take a position that you could have gotten with hard work instead of deceit." "But how did you even manage to remove the footage, Athena? How did you get access to it?" he asked furiously, and she hesitated before speaking. "I found a way into the security system. I overheard someone from the tech team talking about it, and I bribed him to give me access. It was not easy, but I made sure that the footage was erased before anyone noticed it." Jungkook's anger intensified, but there was also a mix of disbelief. You bribed someone from the tech team to sabotage the project and frame Bain? Athena nodded. I never thought it would go this far. I just wanted her out of the way. You stared at Athena in utter disbelief and tears welled up in your eyes as the weight of her betrayal fully sank in. Jungkook noticed your tears and his anger erupted. Without thinking, he moved towards Athena and grabbed her throat in a fit of rage. I told you if I found out you are behind this, then I will make you regret it. Now, I won't leave you. I'm gonna kill you by myself. He growled through gritted teeth and tightened his grip. Athena gasped for air, her eyes wide with fear as she struggled in his grasp. Please, sir, I'm sorry. She choked out, her voice barely audible. You stood there astonished at the depth of Jungkook's anger, something you had not fully seen before. Seeing the situation escalating, Namjoon hurried over to Jungkook and dragged him away from Athena. Young, let me take care of her. She doesn't deserve any mercy. Namjoon held Jungkook back, but he freed himself from his grip and again moved towards Athena. But you instinctively reached out and grabbed his hand to stop him. He froze. Feeling your touch, his breathing slowed. He let out a deep breath. His anger is melting away. Let the cops deal with her. This is not the way to fix things, you said calmly. Jungkook stood still, his emotions settling as the room grew quieter. Soon the sound of approaching footsteps echoed, and the cops entered the office. Without much delay, they arrested Athena, who hung her head in defeat as she was escorted out. Once she was gone, Jungkook took charge and moved to the front of the room, and everyone else took their seats. You sat quietly and remained tense but noticeably calmer. Jungkook began speaking, his authoritative voice fills in the room. Now that the culprit has been caught, I believe it's only right that we all offer our sincerest apologies to Miss Van. She had to endure far more than she should have. Everyone bowed their heads and apologized. Your gaze darted over to Jungkook, who is holding his ear and giving an apologetic look. You get astonished as he is holding his ear in front of everyone in the meeting room. It's quite unbelievable. Tears welled up in your eyes, and despite trying to hold them back, they spilled over and streamed down your cheeks. And Miss Van will regain her position as secretary with all the respect she deserves, he announced proudly. Hearing those words, your heart swelled with emotion. It was not just about getting your position back. It was about restoring your dignity after everything that had been taken from you. More tears fell as you struggled to comprehend that it was all finally over. The meeting is over, he announced. Then one by one everyone left the room, offering you understanding looks as they passed. Soon only you, Jungkook and Namjoon were left. Jungkook stayed silent for a moment, his gaze fixed on you, his heart heavy with everything unsaid. Namjoon walked towards you, and you stood up. I'm sorry, Miss Van. I doubted your ability, and I should have trusted you more. You are the best secretary we could have. You deserve all the respect and trust. Let's move forward, and I will make sure this never happens again. His words struck a chord, and you felt a mix of gratitude and pain. Thank you, sir. It means a lot to hear that, you replied, trying to hold back your emotions. Namjoon gave you both a reassuring look before saying, I hope you two sort things out. With that, he turned around and walked away, leaving you and Jungkook alone in the quiet. Only you and Jungkook left in the room. The silence felt heavier than before. You couldn't bring yourself to meet his eyes, overwhelmed with the regret for having doubted him and trusting Athena's lies. The weight of your actions pressed down on you, and your hands hesitated nervously. I'm sorry, Mr. John. I didn't know what to believe. I shouldn't have doubted you. He shook his head gently, moving even closer. When it's okay, you don't need to apologize. I understand why you felt the way you did after everything that happened, and I know you were hurt, and I didn't protect you like I should have. None of this was your fault. His words, filled with kindness and understanding, made your chest tighten. You had expected anger or disappointment, but instead there was only care and concern in his voice. Slowly you lifted your gaze to meet his, your eyes full of unshed tears. In fact, I am the one who should apologize, Van. I shouldn't have shouted at you that day. I know I behaved like a complete jerk to you. I shouldn't have reacted like that. I shouldn't have been rude to you. I regret it so much that it me from inside. You shook your head, trying to ease his guilt. Mr. John, it's okay. You are the boss, and I understand how much this project meant to you. Anyone in your position would have reacted the same way. It was a huge loss, and I get why you were angry. No, Ryan, that doesn't justify how I treated you. I let my emotions get the better of me, and I shouldn't have been rude to you. You didn't deserve that. No, it's fine. You are boss, and I am the employee. It's genuine to react like that when there is a loss. He sighed, stepping closer to you. You are not just an employee to me, Van. I should have trusted you from the start, and I should have known you had never do anything intentionally to hurt me or the project. Hearing his words, you felt a lump in your throat. You had been so worried about letting him down, but his sincere apology was more than you ever expected. Of course, you are not just an employee to him. I still remember how he fought with me when I appointed Athena as at your position. He was like, I can't see anyone else as my secretary other than Van. Namjoon came out of nowhere. You both got shocked to see him, and you got flattered on hearing him. You looked at Jungkook as if asking for the reassurance of what Namjoon said is true or not. He just shook his head in negligence out of nervousness. Namjoon noticed it. Don't trust him, Van. He was like, no one can replace Van, and I won't accept anyone else other than her as my. Jungkook rushed over to him and put his hand on his mouth to stop him from speaking further, and you chuckled. Young, why are you even here? Were you perhaps eavesdropping on us? Namjoon signaled him to let his mouth free first, so Jungkook moved his hand away from his mouth. I just came here to grab my phone. I swear I was not eavesdropping. Then grab it and go away from here, Young. Okay, fine. He chuckled before grabbing his phone, then walked away from there with a mischievous smile. The air between you both felt thick with awkwardness. Jungkook glanced around the room as he is not able to meet your eyes. He is clearly unsure of how to handle the situation while you stood there, a mixture of emotions swirling inside. Despite the tension, you felt a flicker of relief, knowing that Jungkook had said he couldn't accept anyone else as his secretary but you. It meant something, even if neither of you knew how to navigate the moment. You decided to break the silence, your voice tentative. So, you really didn't want anyone else as your secretary? You asked with a playful smile. Jungkook scratched the back of his neck, his gaze finally meeting yours for a brief moment before darting away again. I meant it. No one else can do the job like you. It wouldn't feel right. His words made your heart skip a beat, and despite the lingering awkwardness, there was a sense of comfort in knowing that. Thank you for trusting me, but I'm so sorry for everything, for doubting you, for not trusting your intentions. Jungkook reached out and gently took your hands in his. We'll fix this together. Let's move forward. I don't want to lose you, Van. Not as my secretary, not as someone who means a lot to me. Jungkook's words left your heart fluttering and your heartbeat raced. When he took your hands in his, the movement felt even more intense, making it hard to think straight. You quickly pulled your hands back, feeling overwhelmed by the situation. You fidgeted your fingers and tried to regain your composure. Then I should go now and get my stuff shifted here, you said, trying to break the tension. Jungkook nodded, though his gaze lingered on you for a moment longer. Yes, of course. Let's go. Let me help you. What? No, there is really no need for Mr. John. I can manage it by myself. Jungkook nodded, then you turned to leave. You turned to leave, but something snapped inside Jungkook. He couldn't bear the thought of you walking away, not after everything. And before you could take another step, he grabbed your hand and brought you back to his chest with a firm yet gentle pull. His hand found the back of your neck, and before you could even process it, he pressed his lips on yours. Your heart skipped a beat and eyes widened in shock at first, but the warmth and emotion behind his softened you. Slowly you began to melt into giving into the feelings you had kept worried for so long. The world seemed to fade around you, leaving just the two of you in that moment. All the confusion, the hurt, and the misunderstandings were melting away in the intensity of his touch. After a while, the broke and Jungkook gently pressed his forehead against yours. His shaky breath is matching with yours. His hands scrubbed your face and fingers are softly caressing your skin as if afraid to let go. You found yourself holding onto his arms, both of you keeping your eyes closed. Neither of you said a word, just savoring the quite intimate moment between you. Mr. John, you tried to form words, but Jungkook cut off you. When I know you respect me a lot, but please call me Jungkook when we are alone. Okay, Mr. John, I mean Jungkook. Jungkook chuckled under his breath, whereas his heart skipped a beat when you called him by his name for the very first time. What was that for? You asked, your voice barely above a whisper. He looked into your eyes, the intensity in his gaze undeniable. I couldn't control myself when I saw you walking away, he admitted softly while brushing your cheek. What's that supposed to mean? Jungkook looked at you deeply, then after a deep breath, he confessed. I have to tell you something. I think... No. I'm sure I'm in love with you. I have never loved anyone else as I love you. I can't put it into words. There are none that come close to expressing how I feel about you. Just know that I am deeply in love with you. And I love that I'm in love with you. I love the feelings. It's amazing and you are amazing. Your heart skipped a beat at his confession. You stood frozen, unsure of how to respond. You could sense the sincerity in his eyes. Jungkook, you whispered, your voice barely audible. As you searched for the right words, His sudden confession left you speechless. But his gaze never left yours. He's waiting for your response while your heart raced faster than ever. Jungkook sensed your condition and then cupped your face. His eyes were filled with warmth. I know it's a lot to take in, but I have been holding this in for a while. I just didn't realize how deep my feelings were until I almost lost you. You looked down for a moment, still processing everything. It's just, I never imagined this. I never thought that you would feel this way about me. He took your hands in his again, and this time more tenderly. Well, now you know, and I'm not going to let you go, not never. His words made your heart flutter, and though you were still trying to grasp the reality of it all, there was a part of you that couldn't deny how happy his confession made you feel. Are you willing to be with me forever, Ban? His question was unexpected, but deep down you knew the answer. Your heart had already decided long before your mind caught up. So, with a soft smile, you nodded. Yes, Jungkook, I'm willing to be with you forever. His face lit up with a mixture of relief and joy, and before you knew it, he pulled you into his tight embrace. You have no idea how much that means to me, he whispered against your hair. You smiled before saying, I love you too, Jungkook. Jungkook smiled, then broke the hug and then gently pressed his lips onto yours. After breaking, you suddenly realized something, then you looked at Jungkook, concern filling in your eyes. But Jungkook, what about your dream project? You have been working so hard for it. Jungkook smiled softly, his gaze never leaving yours. The project is important, yes, but it's not more important than you. We will recover from the loss, but I can't imagine moving forward without you by my side. I realized something through all of this. You matter to me more than any project or business deal. His words left you speechless, the sincerity in his voice tugging at your heart. You looked into his eyes, feeling your heart swell with emotion. I love you so much, you whispered, tears brimmed in your eyes, but this time they were tears of happiness. Jungkook smiled, his grip on your hands tightening slightly as he pulled you in his embrace. I love you too, more than you know, he said softly, then pressed a gentle on your forehead. In that moment, everything felt right, like the struggles you both went through had led you to this.